It's time to review iNinja for the PlayStation 2. iNinja was released back in November 2003 and was one of the last games to be developed by Argonaut Games, the people that helped create the original Star Fox on the Super Nintendo and the makers of the PlayStation crock platformers before it was liquidated in late 2004. The game was received fairly well by critics at the time, but just how well does it hold up years later? Well, let's jump into iNinja and find out. iNinja is centered around a hyperactive demented ninja simply titled Ninja, voiced by Billy West. When he tries to rescue his sensei from the evil odors mooks the ranks, Ninja ends up accidentally killing his sensei when he absorbs the Rage Stone and goes utterly mental. However, Ninja discovers that if he finds more Rage Stones and absorbs them into him, he'll become powerful enough to finally defeat Odor. So, guided by the ghost of his sensei, Ninja sets out into the world to collect the Rage Stones and destroy the evil Odor once and for all. iNinja is a linear hybrid between a 3D platformer and a hack-and-slash game, where the objective is to try obtain all the Rage Stones in order to defeat Odor. You jump with the X button with a typical double jump by pressing X again, or can use your sword to glide by holding onto circle, attack enemies with square, use a spin attack whenever you're surrounded by pressing circle, and can throw shurikens at them with the triangle button. The D-pad can be used to perform special abilities you gain over the course of the game, and you can also use a first-person zoom-in function to help attack certain enemies better with R1 and L1 respectively. You can obtain the Rage Stones by defeating the guardians of each world you come across. However, you're usually not strong enough to beat them and can only become stronger by collecting the Talisman at the end of each level. When you've collected enough of them, you'll be upgraded to the next mark of ninjutsu, declaring you ready to take on the Guardian. However, you can also upgrade your sword to become stronger and faster by killing a certain amount of enemies throughout the game. Something especially important concerning the Talismans is that there's about 3 per level, each of which are earned under different challenges and circumstances. This is something that will definitely come in handy later on, since the number of Talismans you need to fight the next boss often outweigh the number of levels in the latest world. What this means is that you'll have to backtrack to previous levels in order to get more Talismans, and unfortunately, this is where one of the game's more obvious problems crop up. Instead of trying to come up with more levels per world, or even allowing you to complete multiple objectives at once, like trying to beat the level while collecting the secret red coins, you're forced to slog through the same old levels again and again to get more Talismans, which just feels really lazy. Speaking of lazy, the final world of iNinja is surprisingly really disappointing and just feels plain rushed. The environments all look the same, there aren't really any exciting moments of level design, and there's only just 2 levels in the world, whereas every other level has about 3 to 5 levels each. Another problem is that the main character is, to be quite blunt, an irritating, unlikable prick of a protagonist. All he does is constantly yell at annoying gibberish that makes him come off as an overconfident knobhead, and I especially despise him for the fact that he makes Billy West damn near unbearable to listen to. I mean, I like the guy and everything, but holy hell above was he annoying in this game. The game can also at times get frustratingly challenging to the point where I sometimes actually threw up my arms in the air and said, "Feck it!" I'm not saying challenging the game is a bad thing in and of itself, but there are levels in this game that require such perfect timing that even a saint would be tempted to throw their controller through the TV screen. And while the music certainly isn't bad, it just sounds very bland and forgettable to listen to. It's one of those soundtracks that goes all techno for the sake of style, but really does it actually end up with a song or two that stay in the mind because they're so kick-ass, and unfortunately this game is no exception. However, aside from all that, I thought that iNinja was actually a pretty enjoyable game. The graphics are actually pretty nice for starters, the character designs are unique and stand out from the environments, the animations flow quite well, and the frame rate never goes down, which is a godsend given the aforementioned perfect timing needed in some levels, and especially when the combat gets really hectic. Come to think of it, that's another thing I like about this game. The combat was chaotically cathartic to play through since the enemies barely put up any kind of defense, leaving me to keep slashing them into millions of gooey bits and pieces. It's repetitive, oh god yeah, but it's still damn fun to conquer legions of chibi samurai by cutting them up over and over again. And while I can't stand the repetitive nature of backtracking in order to get the Talismans, I'll be fair and admit that the goals to get them were quite varied, ranging from completing a level under a time limit to slashing up a certain number of enemies, not to mention that the level designs themselves have a lot of variation, from secret bases hidden in the forests, to a seaside shantytown, to enormous expanses inside a dark, deathly mountain, which makes it feel like you're never retreading the same ground constantly. Well, unless you're replaying the levels to get more Talismans, but that's beside the point. And finally, I like the way iNinja goes about its 3D platforming. Most platformers of this kind usually go at a very sedate pace, but iNinja is a damn quick game with very fast-paced platforming, with ideas such as gaining loads of momentum while running down a hill, using a grappling hook to dodge certain obstacles, and more. Hell, it feels like a weird hybrid between a 3D Sonic the Hedgehog game and Dynasty Warriors. And you know what? That's not a bad thing at all. iNinja is a pretty good game with nice smooth graphics, chaotic and cathartic combat, varied levels and goals, and very fun speedy platforming. Unfortunately, it's let down by constant backtracking in order to get more talismans, some very irritatingly challenging sections, a disappointing final world, dull, forgettable music, and a very unlikable douchebag of a main character. Still, if you're a fan of 3D platformers, hack and slash games, fast-paced games, or any combination of the above, I highly recommend you check out iNinja. This game gets a rating of pretty good. What it says on the tin, really. Nothing spectacular, but still fun to play nonetheless. I'm Father Dugan 8000, and I hope you enjoyed watching this review. Until we meet again, have a great day, all!